By the 8th century, the Western Roman Empire was a distant memory. What remained was a politically fractured rural landscape governed by isolated Germanic warlords. 2,000 miles away, the Roman Empire was actually still thriving. Ruled from Constantinople, the Byzantine Empire maintained immense wealth and unbroken imperial continuity, visible in massive architectural marvels like the Hagia Sophia. But the West refused to recognize the Byzantine ruler. In Constantinople, Empress Irene had seized power by blinding her own son. Because a woman held the throne, Western leaders argued she lacked legal standing, considering the imperial seat to be vacant. With the Byzantine throne unrecognized in the West, the people of Rome, and specifically the papacy, were left completely exposed. They had no recognized universal protector to defend them against local rivals. That vulnerability came to a head in 799 CE. A faction of Roman nobles ambushed Pope Leo III in the street, attempting to blind him and cut out his tongue to render him unfit for office. Leo barely escaped. To survive, he fled across the Alps, seeking physical protection from the only man in Western Europe with the strength to provide it, the Frankish king Charlemagne. Charlemagne commanded the largest military force in the post-Roman world. For decades, he had waged brutal campaigns to expand his territory, including a bloody 30-year war to subjugate the pagan Saxons. Yet Charlemagne faced a specific political deficit. He ruled by the sword, but his violent campaigns against non-Christians lacked the sacred sanction necessary to be viewed as fully legitimate. The vulnerable pope required a physical protector for the church, while the king sought the sacred legitimacy only the successor of Peter could provide. On Christmas Day in the year 800, Charlemagne attended Mass at St. Peter's Basilica. He was ostensibly in Rome to oversee a trial that formally cleared Pope Leo of corruption charges. As the Frankish king rose from prayer, Leo approached. Without warning, the pope placed a crown on Charlemagne's head, and the congregation acclaimed him emperor. Charlemagne's court biographer later claimed the king was furious and entirely surprised by the coronation. Modern historians, however, suspect this was a carefully orchestrated piece of political theater. Regardless of who planned it, the event established a specific power dynamic. Charlemagne secured the imperial title, but Leo cemented the precedent that while emperors hold the military sword, only popes have the authority to bestow the crown. That moment created the Carolingian synthesis, fusing three historical worlds. The Germanic pillar brought military might and feudal loyalty. The Christian pillar established authority descending from God. The Roman pillar claimed the legacy of the Caesars, explicitly snubbing Byzantine claims. By locking these three identities together, Charlemagne and Leo generated the political formula that would govern European monarchs for the rest of the Middle Ages. The immediate fallout was severe. The Byzantine East was outraged by the usurpation of their title, cementing a permanent geopolitical and ideological rift between Eastern and Western Christendom. Inside his borders, Charlemagne leveraged his new prestige to launch the Carolingian Renaissance. He ordered the preservation of classical texts and standardized Latin so his sprawling territories could communicate using a single, unified legal and administrative language. He also constructed a new imperial capital at Aachen. He built monumental Roman-style architecture, like the Palatine Chapel, to physically embody his authority. To stabilize his new title, Charlemagne engineered a shared intellectual and religious culture that functioned as the empire's structural backbone. Following Charlemagne's death, the physical borders of his empire splintered under his grandsons. The unified state collapsed, but the idea of a Western Christian empire did not. This system of dual secular and religious authority endured as the Holy Roman Empire, surviving as a cornerstone of European politics until 1806. Over the centuries, Charlemagne himself was elevated from a historical king to a near mythological founder, revered by subsequent rulers who sought to borrow his legitimacy. By merging Roman history, Christian authority, and Germanic power, the coronation of 800 CE forged the cultural and geographic identity of Western Europe.